What is up, guys? It's Kamani J. Lee, and we're over halfway through Big Brother 28. And this season, like last year, has been quite interesting. And in this video, I will be discussing who are the top contenders to win Big Brother 28. This video is taking place as of week 7, with the most recent house guest evicted being Kamu.
Of 8 to 1, Kamu.
But before we get to who are the most likely to win, I want to talk about the 6 evicted house guests so far. Starting off with Ashley, who she was 3rd on my preseason power ranking. And yeah, she kind of was a disappointment. Very fun character though. I liked her a lot. But from a gameplay standpoint, pretty disappointing. Rome. Now preseason, I thought Rome was going to be such a dick.
I'm going to be more friendly with more of the betas and the submissives of the house.
You know what? He wasn't. I actually liked him. I thought he was fun. I thought he was good TV. I was kind of sad to see him leave in week 2, but it probably made for the best outcome. Next up, we have Jason. And I think Jason was probably one of the most fun people on this season. I think during weeks 2 and 3, Jason was a lot of fun. I think Jason was probably the worst player of this season. Played a pretty terrible game. But Jason was a lot of fun and made the early game a lot of fun to watch. Now we have Lyric, who Lyric was number 2 on my preseason power ranking. And Lyric, from a gameplay standpoint, was actually not the worst. I think Lyric is pretty good for being 14th place. Lyric was a very self-interested player, constantly throwing her allies under the bus. Her showmance with Rome was a lot of fun as well. I was kind of sad to see Lyric leave in week 4, but it made for the best outcome. It made Haley's HOH a lot of fun. Next up, we have Chuck, who was a dud. Chuck was, Chuck was Chuck. Chuck GPT, it's Chuck time. The fact that Chuck exists is just funny. He left in the perfect time. I don't hate Chuck. He just did nothing. He was just so irrelevant. And finally, we have Kamuella Kirk, who sucks. Kamu sucks as a person. However, Kamu did play a very impressive game and is one of the best pre-jury boots in Big Brother history, which is surprising because I didn't expect that from Kamu preseason. Kamu was not great TV, but however, the fact that he wasn't nominated in week 5 is very impressive. I'm glad he's out. If I made this video a week earlier, Kamu would have definitely been on the list of top contenders until he was nominated, but he left at the perfect time. And now we're moving on to who are the most likely people to win Big Brother 28. So a lot of the game has shifted. I think if like I said, I made this video a week earlier, a lot of the people on this list would have been different. But I'm going to take a risk right now, and my first pick is going to be Mallory. Now, if you're seeing this video after week 7 and Mallory is evicted this week, what can I say? Unfortunately, Mallory seemingly has a good chance of being evicted this week. However, if Mallory does stay this week, I think Mallory is very well insulated in the game. Mallory does have the FAP alliance with Barrett, Drew, and Melody. However, Drew is on the block, and again, Drew could leave this week as well. But Mallory is someone who is pretty decent at comps, winning the week 1 veto and the week 3 blockbuster. Mallory does have a lot of potential to win endgame competitions, and she's very good socially. The house really likes her, and she's very, very well respected and probably will beat most of this cast on a jury vote. However, the downsides are Mallory does seem to be someone very likely to be targeted from the FAP Alliance. Obviously this week, proving my point, Mallory is seemingly going to be nominated. You might be watching this video while Mallory is nominated. However, if Mallory stays this week, I think Mallory has a very good chance to go on fire in this game and potentially win a jury vote. Now, this next pick is someone also in the FAP Alliance, but unfortunately someone who I don't like as much as Mallory, and it is Barrett. Now, for me, Barrett is kind of a nothing burger. I think Barrett is unfortunately probably the most uninteresting person left in this season. However, Barrett is in a decent spot. I think Barrett is probably the best positioned of anybody in the FAP Alliance right now. Barrett has been considered a target, was going to be the week 6 renom if Yash used the veto. However, in week 5, Barrett was locked safe and had no chance of being evicted. I think Barrett is someone who's decent at comps, getting 2nd place in a lot of competitions. And when people like Yash get evicted, I think Barrett is very likely to win a few more competitions. No one's really coming after Barrett right now. I think Barrett has a pretty easy ride to like the final 8, and maybe he might need to win some competitions. But I think at that point, Barrett could definitely win a HOH or a veto by that point. And the blockbuster if it's still around till final 7 like last season. The only downside of Barrett's game is I'm not sure on his jury prospects. I don't think people respect him a lot. I think Barrett could definitely win jury votes against a decent amount of people like a Melody, Latrice, Haley, but I'm not sure really beyond that. I think he very likely loses a jury vote to the likes of Taylor and Mallory if they stay this week. And yes, Taylor would be on this list if Taylor also wasn't nominated, but I kind of wanted to choose only one of the nominees and I went for Mallory. But overall, I think Barrett is probably going to be in the game for a while. I mean, you never know. He might end up being in the end game. Does he win? I'm not quite sure right now, but in the end of the day, he's still a top contender. He's someone who I think is very likely to make it to the end game as of right now. Now, I spoke about this person already while talking about Barrett, and my next pick is Yash. I think out of any of the newbies, I think that Yash is the best positioned. I think Yash is well set up to potentially get the jury as of the bribe he took from D. I think Yash is also very good at competitions, winning a blockbuster, a HOH, and a veto. I think also Yash is a very sound strategic mind because during his HOH week, he was making the optimal decision in targeting the icons. I think Yash's HOH would have been successful if it wasn't for a twist. The Diamond Power veto. Yash wasn't necessarily going to plan his HOH knowing about the Diamond Power veto, and it was kind of unlucky the fact that that happened on his HOH and him losing his number 1 ally. I think of anybody left in this cast, Yash is probably the best comp competitor, and I could see a good shot of him just comping out in the end game. Yash is also pretty well liked in the house to the point where I think if he gets to the end, he's someone who's very likely to win a jury vote. People are starting to realize that Yash is kind of a threat in this game. But unfortunately, Yash not being able to target the icons is kind of a bit of a downside. However, it does keep him safe this week. So for me, Yash is a top contender to win Big Brother 28. Now finally, I kind of want to take this last section of the video to just generally talk about the icons. As right now, I think the icons are very well positioned and I think the icons probably will get to jury with D being the HOH and not wanting to target Devons or Angela as obviously they're her 2 closest allies. Obviously D is now used the bribe and Yash won't be coming after them, which means that they probably have safety as Yash is someone who's very likely to win a HOH upcoming. I think their position has tanked a little bit since the last week or so. Devon's using the Diamond Power veto obviously has tanked his position as he had like a guaranteed way of safety. But more individually, D has been quite messily strategically. I don't think she's been playing great. Obviously, she was very likely to leave in week 6 if it wasn't for Devon's Diamond Power veto. However, I think D might be able to recover with this HOH even though she's making a pretty bad move. Also, D kind of sucks at comps this season with her only 2 HOH wins being against 3 people, and then obviously just winning the week 7 HOH. However, socially, I think D is pretty good socially. I think D will have some jury prospects, but out of the 3 icons, the least. As of right now, I'm probably the least confident in D to win this game out of the icons. However, I think D still has a pretty good shot. I think we'll see D for a couple of weeks. Now, Devons. I think Devons is being looked at as the best player in the game. A lot of people think Devons is a really good player. I think Devons is pretty good at comps, obviously winning both the HOH and veto in week 2. Devons is also pretty sound strategically. I think the Karma move was pretty good, not perfect. I think Devons is pretty well connected in the game. There's a reason he hasn't been nominated yet. I also think Devons' jury prospects are very good. However, that does lead to Devons probably being targeted. I think Devons would probably have to comp out. But he definitely could do that. I think if Devons manages to comp out, he wins this game pretty easily. And then Angela. I think Angela is pretty well positioned right now. Angela is not being targeted whatsoever. Angela was lock safe in week 6. Had no way of going out in week 6. And obviously we just seen Angela win a competition for once. We saw Angela win the blockbuster, even though it's a bit iffy because that comp, she was kind of helped with Tucker. But I wouldn't be surprised if Angela wins a clutch veto when she needs to. No one's talking about putting Angela up. Even people wanting to come after the icons aren't looking at putting Angela up. No one's coming after her. I think Angela's going to be in the game for a while. And what's crazy is, unlike BB26, I think Angela wins a jury vote this season. I don't think she beats everybody on the cast, but I think she even beats people like D. I think she's someone who's in the top half of people win equity-wise. Angela's very well connected in the house. She's very well liked, and she has people who want to take her to the end, like Dee. I think Angela has a very viable path to the end, and Angela could definitely win this season, which is crazy. But Angela's someone who is a very likely contender to win, and potentially might be the most likely contender to win. But overall, I think the Icons have a pretty good chance of getting far in this game. If you force me to rank them, I'd say Dee 3, Devon's 2, and Angela 1. But yeah, that's who I think are the most likely to win Big Brother 27 around the midway point in the season. I'm going to do this again next year. This might be a yearly tradition now. And if I can be asked and the season ends good, I might talk about BB28 once it's over. But yeah, thank you for watching.